Wes Goldberg, cold open question of the day for you. Really a marketing basketball question today. The Toronto Tempo is the name for the WNBA team headed to Toronto. Thoughts on the name Toronto Tempo?
I like it. Alliteration, always a big fan when it comes to sports names. It works. And you know what it is? It's tempo. They're gonna push the pace. It's a basketball related term, and I'm in. I'm in for it. I really like the logo too. It's kind of got like
Yeah.
this old school, like early '90s Microsoft Windows kind of feel to it, and I mean that in a good way. There's kind of like a nostalgic vibe to it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I agree. It has kind of like kitschy's not like a word that he's usually uses like positive, but I like that it's
Right.
just like kind of we didn't overthink this. We
Exactly.
didn't we didn't do something
It's
insane.
relatable. It feels like I could have made it.
Yes, 100%. And I don't. That's not necessarily a bad thing. What the color scheme and everything ultimately looks like, I'll be kind of curious. Like that's kind of the next step in all this, that they nail a jersey and the branding and all of that.
Mhm.
I do think it'd be really funny if they just whoever the coach is that they can get that's actually just gonna play like who like Memphis Grizzlies circa Mike like grit and grind Grizzlies basketball with the tempo. I think would just be a hilarious swerve.
Yeah, I don't think that they can necessarily make that a part of their identity. Like they can't like base the way that they play based on the team name. But can I just say this hot take?
Yeah, please.
I like this way more than the Valkyries. I really
Mm.
don't like the Valkyries jersey, color scheme, logo. Everything about it feels very busy. Feels very like we made this in a conference room with like a panel of people, and we just needed everybody's ideas in one big logo.
Wes, I
I don't
got I
think
got
most people know what a
that
Valkyrie is.
I think that's how that happened considering the city that team is based in. No
Yes,
shade, like
exactly.
it's
No, I was
that's the culture of San Francisco. Like that's how that
100%.
happens.
No, 100%. That was what I was getting at. All shade intended as somebody that lived there, and that kind of stuff could get really annoying. And I like that
Yeah.
Toronto was just like, nope, here it is. Here's the
Alliteration.
thing. Alliteration, a basketball related term. Nope, like it just the whole other one just felt very focus grouped. The Toronto Tempo just feels like this is a basketball. It already feels like a basketball team that's existed for a little while, where the Valkyrie very much feels like an expansion franchise. And that's a compliment to the Toronto Tempo.
Yeah, like I will say the only thing I like about the Valkyries 100% that will have it over I think probably any expansion team is that purple is just a plus. That shade of purple
Purple's
considering
tough in sports, man. It's a
it
tough color
is.
to pull off. You know, it doesn't.
But I like that we didn't get the same like I like that they didn't copy the Warriors colors. I like that they didn't just like do giant like I like that it's an attempt at something unique. Even if it maybe doesn't work when we see the final product, I like that they are trying something.
Still don't know what a Valkyrie is. Don't care.
You're not Wes, that just means you're not in touch with the Nordic part of our world enough and as a Norwegian, you're lost. That's tough. On today's show, Jonathan Kuminga breaking out. What does it mean for the Warriors and quarter season All Star picks? Let's dive in on the Just Basketball Show. What is up, everyone? Chris Manning, Wes Goldberg here. Wes, I got to tell you, I loved on the way in that you did the finger point, like kind of over, like you did that
Hey, I'm gonna
movement,
make it a
like
thing. I'm gonna make it a thing.
it's like you're hitting a big three in a tug close NBA playoff game, and you know what? That's how I feel podcasting with you, my friend. It's the Just Basketball Show, your twice weekly show covering all things hoops. If you haven't already, please subscribe, rate, review on your podcast app platform of choice. Hit subscribe on the Just Basketball Fans YouTube channel, TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, X, all those platforms. You can find us. Wes, tell everyone about our first sponsor today, BetMGM.
Yeah, today's episode is brought to you by BetMGM. If you haven't signed up yet for BetMGM, use the bonus code JustBasketball and you'll get up to $1,500 in your first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. Download the BetMGM Sportsbook app on iOS or Android. Sign up using the code JustBasketball. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. You'll receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if that bet loses. Just make sure to use the bonus code JustBasketball when you sign up. And new thing that I'm going to be doing with this ad read, Chris, I'm going to try to read this last part as fast as possible, and I'm going to keep trying to break my record every episode. So here we go. Gambling problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 or older to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Not bad.
Love it. Did want to tell you before we talk about the Warriors, did hit on a Brandon Bajemski is like, I think it's 11 games in a row now with under 17 points and assists combined. Hit that again last night, and even though they won that game. So hit that on BetMGM. You can go find that there right now. Also got to tell you about our friends at Homage. Homage is the ultra comfortable specialty apparel company making vintage inspired designs. They use NBA, WNBA licenses. They have NFL, MLB, pop culture. If you're a WWE fan, per se, you can find that there. Use our link below. Support the Just Basketball Show. If you're an NBA fan looking for a gift this holiday, I think my favorite thing to recommend is their starter pullover jackets. Now, they don't have every team, but they have the Cavs, they have the Bulls, the Lakers, the Knicks, the Celtics. They have a great Lakers satin starter jacket if you're a Lakers fan. I mean, maybe it doesn't get cold enough in LA, but people in LA and Florida think that like 60 degrees is cold when that's not cold. But they have a lot of great teams. Check that out, and hopefully they get Wes some Miami Heat gear, his friends and family some Miami Heat gear in the starter collection, because I feel like that's kind of missing. A Miami Vice, Wes. I know they don't do that color scheme anymore, but like a Miami Vice homage starter jacket would go so fucking hard.
I would lower the air conditioning in my apartment just to wear it. Like, I would just lower it to like 55 degrees.
Your wife's like, honey, why is our bill gone so much higher, and why am I cold all the time? And you just
right. I'm like, because I look sick.
Because you're like, did you see this? Did you see this jacket, honey? How good I look. I can't take it off. Shit, use our link below. Buy yourself something nice or someone you love nice this holiday season. All right, Wes, let's start with Jonathan Kuminga, because he had a career high in a Warriors win against the Houston Rockets, a good Houston Rockets team.
Yep, very good.
No Draymond, no Clay. On a night where I think they only had 2 double-digit scorers ultimately in that game, was something the Warriors broadcast was hitting out a bunch down the stretch. I think this is a big deal, the way he's found some form, found some rhythm. He had a couple stretches where his minutes were a little inconsistent. Kerr talking about publicly needing to get him more minutes, Wes. I think Kuminga finding his lead as a different, like that idea that he's a different kind of player than the Warriors usually have, that he's a little bit out of their normal scope. But he's giving them the scoring dynamicism. He's being aggressive. He looks more comfortable. He looks assertive. He looks like he's coming into himself. I think this is a big deal for what the Warriors' ceiling is this year. Stuff to figure out, like how do you play him and Mooney and Draymond, or Looney and him and Draymond all together at the same time? I think it's a fair question. I think ultimately they will fill that mountain loss. I don't think this takes them into, let's say, title contender status. But I like this team a ton more if we're getting a great elevated version of Jonathan Kuminga going forward. That game last night really feels like it bodes well for where Kuminga's going this year.
Maybe. I mean, you could charge me with being the skeptical police right now, but
yeah, that's fine.
He's done this before. Like, he's had nights where he's gone off and then followed that up with nights where he hasn't gone off, right? Like, he's been, inconsistent, and a lot of, Warriors fans would point to the fact that his role has been inconsistent, and therefore he's been inconsistent. And it's not a coincidence that in a game without Steph and a game without Draymond, Jonathan Kuminga goes off. Like, that is a very important part of this formula. What is not going to be part of Golden State's winning formula is Steph Curry and Draymond Green not playing basketball games.
Absolutely true.
So the real key here, and when I will be impressed, is when Kuminga is able to do this on a regular basis with Curry and Draymond. And right now, that's been the problem. They started the season trying to start Jonathan Kuminga alongside Draymond, Wiggins, and Trace Jackson Davis with Steph in like this big jumbo lineup. They stuck with that for only like a handful of games. Eventually moved Kuminga to the bench, and he played well coming off the bench, and he's been okay playing off the bench, but he's not been that number 2 scorer that they've needed. And he wasn't that number 2 scorer against Houston because he was the number 1 scorer against Houston. So this idea of, can Jonathan Kuminga be this number 2 scorer for the Golden State Warriors, is still a question that we have no answers to.
I think that's fair. I feel like that game, though, makes it, I could just be getting excited about him. I've always been a fan. The physical tools are obviously there, and he's been a guy that, like, last year, I think greatly improved. And he's still pretty young, relatively. It's one of those things where you forget how young these guys are. They need someone. There's like a gap in that roster for that number 2 scorer that you're talking about. And I just think it's more likely to be him than it's ever going to be Wiggins.
Mm-hmm.
And like Buddy Hield's sort of like if you can get him hot, like that's like just like a added bonus, and that tells you something maybe about the roster structure. I think this is still a big trade team at some point if they're really going to pursue another title with Steph and Draymond. But I think this is the kind of performance, the way he did it, how it was kind of mucky, how he did just have to kind of do the damn thing. It gives me hope that at least that if someone on this team is going to figure it out and give them another punch this year, and there's not a trade coming, I think it feels like it's that is there for Kuminga if he can find that consistency. If he can find it, I think that opportunity for him to really break out is staring him in the face.
Yeah, it's definitely partly him. And this is a guy who always kind of wanted to be a scorer in the NBA. I remember talking with him, I think a couple of years ago, and he was talking about how he grew up watching Kobe Bryant highlights, and that was his idol. And he wants to be Kobe. And you could see it sometimes. He kind of gets into that mid-range area, gets into those fadeaways. You saw it last night in Houston. Like, that's the kind of game he wants to play, and that does not jive with Golden State Warriors basketball in the Steph Curry era. Like, that doesn't go together.
Kerr, which he said, it's like 12 guys. It's like there was a thing in one of the stories I read where he was like, it's the 12 guys all together is democracy, but if it goes bad, it's like communism, which is the most Steve Kerr way of describing a 12-man basketball team.
I love that.
It's so good. It's so
always
good.
Bringing politics into it, Steve.
Just Dame Steve, yeah.
So I don't know. The fit is still really weird, and then at the same time, like, there are times when they really need that, right? Like, where they kind of have to get away from all the kumbaya, share the ball, Steph Curry running around basketball, and just like give this guy the ball and just go get a damn bucket. And Kuminga is the best on the team at that. He might be the only one on the team who could do that, right? Where he's just sort of this sledgehammer type of tool that they have in their toolbox that, and Steve Kerr and the Warriors, they've talked about this before. Like, we've never really had a player like Jonathan Kuminga before, but like with this new tool, they're not really sure how to use it. And it's been now a long process of trying to find out how to use Jonathan Kuminga properly, and they still aren't really there yet. And so that's why I'm really skeptical, is because, yeah, Jonathan Kuminga is getting better year over year. I think that's true. I think it's also fair to say he's not where most people expected him to be at this stage of his career. Like, people probably thought he was going to be a lot better than this, that he would be a guy who was like a no-brainer, give him the contract extension, and obviously he wasn't. And so, I think there's a lot that goes into that we've been talking about. It's not all on him, but it's also partly on him. So, it's been up and down. I just need to see it more consistently before I'm ready to be like, yeah, this is the guy that they need. Here's the thing, and you hit on this earlier, Chris, but okay, you can't play, and they've decided, we can't play Jonathan Kuminga, Draymond Green, and a center. We just can't play those lineups. There's not enough space on the floor. And Steve Kerr has been adamant that we're going to start games with a center. Like, we have to. We cannot start games with Draymond Green at center. It's too much wear and tear over the course of the 82-game regular season. That's not a lineup that we could start games with. So he's been adamant. He started with Trace Jackson Davis. Kevon Looney has gotten back into the starting lineup. He's been playing really well for them. And so that's why Kuminga keeps going to the bench. But what if they brought Draymond Green off the bench? It's a half-baked take, and I don't think I would do it, but like, what if they made him the Andre Iguodala of this team? Like, he kind of takes the Iggy role, and like, okay, eventually you get to your small ball lineup, and that sort of gets unlocked when Draymond is on the floor, because the Draymond plus center lineups have their own inherent issues. But at least if it's Kuminga at power forward with Kevon Looney, you still have a scorer at that 4 spot. And I think, like, look, Draymond Green's on-off numbers this year are awesome. Like, he is far and away Golden State's second best player. There's no question about it. But I do think there's enough perimeter defenders there. If they're getting a good Andrew Wiggins season on both sides of the ball. Like, they've got Gary Payton back there defensively. They've got some guys who can compete defensively. Like, I don't know. Maybe you could survive in certain matchups with Draymond coming off the bench. Again, half-baked. Don't even know if I would do this. Don't know if I would believe it. But I'm throwing the question out to the group here.
If they had a superstar on this, if they had made a superstar trade, I think you could do it. I think it's hard to do it when there's not another like purely superstar all NBA.
You mean like politically?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think if it was like we have our title window, we deep down know it's open because we have X star player on our team with Curry and with Draymond, and the core is there. I think it's possible. I think in this iteration, I can't imagine that working.
Unless they think Kuminga can turn into that because they've moved Draymond to the bench.
Yeah, I guess I just wonder if I think I wonder if that's something they would have if we knew. I think they like Kuminga, but they've never obviously I think ever been fully just head over heels with
I think
how it's
that's very
gone with him
fair.
so far.
I think it's a
And I
very
think
fair
if
assessment.
and I think if they were head over heels with him in that way, that we might have seen it. That's a hunch. Don't know that, but
Can I go conspiracy?
yeah,
What if you told Draymond, hey, buddy, listen, take one for the team. You're going to come off the bench. You're still going to play your minutes. You're still going to play at the end of the halves. You're going to go small ball. It's all going to be good. But we're going to showcase Jonathan Kuminga for a couple of months here as the starter. And we think that he could score 20 points per game plus in this role as a power forward with you coming off the bench. And then we think we could trade him. Because right now, him coming off the bench, it's just not where his value isn't where we need it to be. What if they sold it? Like they pitched it to Draymond that. And then once we trade him, we're going to get somebody who fits. And then you guys are going to be able to make a run for it. And yeah, you're going to get your starting job back, obviously. But this is just for a couple of months here. I think Draymond would be like, yep, sign me up. No problem.
Mike, I agree. Mike Dunleavy, get on it if that's the case. Crazy. I would just say like we don't always learn about these things, but the way guys talk about some of this stuff after the fact, I do think that kind of thing happens more often than people know, than we in the media know. I think like over time that stuff does happen in quiet corners.
And I don't think it would even be sort of considered cheating, right? Like it would be, hey, this is what Jonathan Kuminga could do without this wonky fit. And if you're a team that doesn't have somebody like Draymond who's just a wonky fit with him, then this is what Jonathan Kuminga could be for you, right? Like they could sell it. And I think if you're another team that would see Kuminga in that role, you'd be like, I think that would work for us because we don't have a Draymond Green type. We don't have these floor spacing issues with our best player, one of our best players on the court. So we can be the team that houses and fosters Jonathan Kuminga's star potential, right? And so I don't know. I do think it's just galaxy brainy enough for the Warriors to do it. Like they are not a team that is shied away from the galaxy braining of roster building.
It's very startup culture energy. If they were to
yeah, this is Amazon not reporting any gains for like the first 40 years or something. There's just like, no, trust us, we got a plan.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like Google. Like Google's like has Chrome, and it's like everyone's like mad about like needing to spin off Chrome, but it's like that's not the thing. They actually just if they got a bunch of money for that of a thing that has no value outside of their ecosystem, they'd be happy with it. And if they just got Kuminga and it's like Jimmy Butler now plays for the Golden State Warriors, they'd be happy with that.
Is that the team that you would want Kuminga on? Or can I rephrase it? Is there a team that you would like to see Kuminga on?
I was trying to match it really with like I think the tricky part is you have to match it with like an age appropriate star to send back. Like that's kind of
like an older star, like one that's ready to go.
Yeah, like that's like it would have been like Paul George with the Clippers last year, for instance. Like that in some ways that a George Kuminga trade with matching salaries in season last year might have made some sense for both sides. And there's not a ton of that kind of guy I feel like is like staring you in the face right now that fit with Golden State. Like Jimmy would be one.
I mean, Jimmy's even like 35. It's like, okay, we're gonna get 1, maybe 2 years of good Jimmy Butler, and we're gonna punt on Kuminga like that. Yeah, that's tough.
Just I guess what are you politicking with Steph and Draymond? Open question. We'll see how aggressive the Warriors get. Wes, let's get into All Stars. Do you want to start East or West?
East.
All right. Eastern Conference.
I think it's harder. I think the West was a lot easier when I was doing this.
I agree. Let's do locks in the East first, and we'll just maybe go back and forth, name some guys. I'm going to take the easy one and just going to say Giannis is a lot.
How many locks do you have? I have 9.
I have 9 as well.
Okay, so just name your locks. Just name them, and then I'll tell you if I agree, disagree.
All right, Giannis. Donovan Mitchell.
Yep.
Jason Tatum.
Yep.
Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown, yes.
I'm looking at my long list here. Jalen Brunson.
Yep.
I have Evan Mobley.
I did not have him as a lock. Okay, I have him on my short list, but I don't have him as a lock.
Okay, let me type this out. Brunson, Tatum, Mitchell.
Do you have Towns?
I have Towns.
Okay. I have Lillard.
Yep, I have Lillard.
LaMelo.
I don't have LaMelo.
I think he's going to make it for the kids. Like,
So okay,
he's averaging 31 a game.
well, I want to get to this, Wes, but to me, my favorite. Okay, how do you feel about all these guys? Debate is the point guard spot in the East.
Mm-hmm.
There are, aside from Lillard, I think there are 4 guys that I think are all in the running here: Garland, Maxey, Young, and LaMelo. And you could argue different things on different days how I feel about it, and what you value. I think is an interesting test case.
So then you have 2 more locks. Is Franz Wagner?
Franz Wagner is absolutely locked. Probably also him or Mobley is my favorite.
Okay.
Pick for MIP at this point as well. I think both those guys have just been massively improved this year. So I vote them. They both have to be all-stars.
So so your 9 locks are those 8 guys plus Mobley, and then I have LaMelo as a lock. But
yes,
do you want to just? I mean, you want to just put them both in, and then that would give us 2 more spots to play with.
I want to do the guards. I want to get into the other guards that I have on my long list, and we can maybe sort this out.
Okay, so then we have the 9 locks, which means we have three more positions to play with. Okay, let's go.
Yes. Let's look at the guards. Let's sort this out.
All right, let's do it. All right, so you named your names. Can I throw another one in there?
Yes.
Tyler Hero.
I agree. I meant to tell you this over text, so I'm just going to do it on our podcast. The episode you and David Ramil did in Locked in Heat about Tyler Hero and people just like not seeing the leap that is happening if they haven't watched him was A+ stuff. Hero's been really, really great. I think he's been the best player of the Miami Heat so far this year.
Also a most improved candidate.
Yeah. Yeah. I think all 5 of those guys are interesting. My ranking.
Okay, give it to me.
Actually the 3 guys that I have at the top that I'm having the most like consternation about how I want to organize them are LaMelo, Garland, and Maxey.
Mm-hmm.
Because on one hand, Darius Garland's counting numbers are not going to be as big as everyone else's, and I admit I watch him more than the other guys. That's just that's inherent bias, and that's the team in my city. I watch them a bunch. That guy, his efficiency, his caretaking of the ball. The fact that his team is really fucking good and he's a huge instrumental part of that he has evolved his game, I think, in a noticeable way. And he's just been hyper efficient. And he just doesn't have Trae Young and LaMelo kind of have a limited capacity to kind of be what they want to be. They are maximalists. Maxey, to some degree this year, has had to be a maximalist in the same way. Garland is not, and I think Garland on a minute-per-minute basis has been quite good, and I think he has to at the very least. I think he has to be in this running, and some days he's been one for me in this. I have him definitely above Maxey. To me, it's really Garland and LaMelo are the 2 that I'm kind of going back and forth on. And then Trae.
So I don't have.
And then
you
don't have Garland.
I'm not going to have Maxey. I'm out on Maxey. The Sixers stink. They don't get any All-Stars.
Let's kick him out. Let's kick him out.
Makes it easier.
Know him. I saw Embiid on like a very respected person's like long list, and what the fuck are we doing? Joe Embiid cannot be an All-Star this year.
No, okay.
Yeah.
So
on someone's long list, and I was like, what are we doing?
All right. So we're between then LaMelo, Garland, and Tyler Hero. Those are our 3 guards. All right.
And I guess
at the risk of
are we counting Cade as a guard as well? Because I have Cade on my long list.
So among guards on my long list, I have Cade, I've got R.J. Barrett, I've got Cam Thomas, I've got Tyrese Halliburton, I've got Trae Young, I've got Derek White. But I'm not going that far. I think we've narrowed it down to the guys that we got to consider. Now, at the risk of, let me just do this really quick.
Yeah.
The East way deeper with guards than they are in front court guys. So we could just get all these guys on, and that would be totally fine. But we do need, I think we need one more forward. We do need one more front court guy, and we have to decide who that is.
I think the only other guy, Wes, in the East among front court guys that I feel strongly about would frankly be Bam Adebayo, who I don't think has had a Bam Adebayo level season. I don't think he's been quite as. I think he's been like a little bit. It's been a step down, and I couldn't think of or look at anyone else that I'm like.
Well, if you have Mobley, then that's another. So I would be between Evan Mobley, Jalen Johnson, and Bam. Those are the 3 guys.
I would have.
And technically, I think Scotty Barnes also counts as a forward, so you could put him in there too if you wanted. But I don't think he's had that kind of year yet.
No,
he's been trending up, but not yet.
And maybe it's just on rep, but I would go Mobley, Bam, Jalen Johnson be how I'd rank those 3.
All right. I think I would go Jalen Johnson over everybody. I like what Mobley's done. His numbers aren't quite where I would want them. Like if he was at like 19 a game, and 10 rebounds, I could get myself there. But he's at like 17 a game and 9 rebounds. And it just doesn't feel like all-star-ish to me, as awesome as he's been. And I love the Cleveland Cavaliers. Are we going to give him 3 all-stars?
Look at their record. I mean, I think like if the Atlanta Hawks got 4 in
Well, that doesn't count. That was such a like weird year. If you feel strongly about it, I'll go Mobley over Jalen Johnson. But those are the two teams. Those are the two guys.
Just
you had Mobley as a lock. We'll go Mobley.
I had Mobley in terms of like advanced stats, plus 2.6 is expected plus minus. Jalen Johnson is a plus 0.5. Like if you're gonna
that the plus minus stuff on a really good team versus an average team is a tough. That's a tough tiebreaker, man.
I am just saying.
That's a noisy stat.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Jalen Johnson's counting stats are way better than Evan Mobley's.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, I think you muted yourself.
I'm back. Is that better?
Yeah, but you're using the wrong mic.
What the fuck just happened? All right, give me 1 second.
Go to the if you.
No, I mean Wes, you're not wrong that it's a really noisy stat. But I think he's been.
Jalen Johnson's averaging.
Yeah, go ahead.
He's averaging like 29 and 6.
It's really good.
Awesome.
I know. There's just something. I'm biased. I think Mobley's been at times like the second best Cav this year is the thing, and it's like he would be my number 2 pick of fitting guys on the team if we were gonna do this.
All right,
like,
we'll go Mobley. We'll go Mobley.
I have a stronger feeling about him instead of Garland as an all-star.
Well, full disclosure, I have Garland, so the Cavs are gonna get 3 guys. So I've got
this.
So my 3 guards are LaMelo, Garland, and I've got Tyler Hero making it. There has been. His 3-point shooting is ridiculous. His scoring is up there with all these other guys that we're talking about, if not better. I think he has to be the 3rd guard.
So, okay, this is the list that I have in front of me. Now, let's just check it. Giannis, Brunson, Tatum, Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, Karl Anthony Towns, Damian Lillard, Franz Wagner, Evan Mobley, Darius Garland. That's the guys we have right now that we've locked in.
Yep. And then we have 2 spots left then?
Yeah, we got 2 spots. Do you want to go LaMelo?
To me, it's LaMelo and Hero.
I think Cade is close, but I think Hero's been a little bit better than Cade.
Yep.
LaMelo and Tyler Hero.
All right.
I wish I could have had a prop bet to start the year that Tyler Hero would be a better all-star candidate than Bam and Jimmy.
Yeah, and for the record, like this is just what I would do. I think if the coaches are still choosing, they'll probably put Bam in over Tyler Hero at this point because there's nothing but respect among the coaches for Bam. But I think Tyler Hero's been an all-star, and by the way, the Miami Heat aren't good enough to get 2 of them. So it seems like an either or between Tyler Hero and Bam. Jimmy's just already missed like 5 games. He's not really in the running for this right now, but he could get there too. It could be any one of those 3. But to your point, like Tyler Hero even being part of this conversation is a huge win for him and for the Heat.
Yeah, and like the guys I feel are the toughest cut here. I think Trey and Cade.
Yep.
And
Bam.
And Bam. Those are the 3 that I feel like I don't feel like I'm.
And James Johnson, Jalen Johnson. Sorry,
Jalen Johnson. But like I'm thinking about like.
Wait. We could do that. Do we want to put Jalen Johnson over Tyler Hero or Darius Garland? Because we have wild card spots.
Yeah, I think we should. Let's get it.
But it's between our guys here.
I know. All right, let's. We're gonna rock paper scissors. Who loses our guy? All right, we're gonna go rock paper scissors shoot.
You didn't put your thing up.
Okay, sorry.
I don't know what you have. You did rock?
No, I had a scissor, but I put my hand too far down. All right, rock paper scissors shoot.
This is great radio.
That's good. It's podcasting on YouTube. All right.
I had paper. What did you have? I didn't see what your hand was.
I had scissors. You know,
okay,
I'm gonna take Garland off. We're gonna put Hero on, and we're gonna put Jalen Johnson on.
See, that's good of you. All right.
This is world peace, and yeah, it's tough, but I think all those are viable. I like Jalen's candidacy better than Trae Young, even though I think Trae Young, like counting stats wise, like in even with his shooting a little bit down, I think has to be in the running.
Yeah, he does. It's not a little bit down though. It's a lot of it down. But I think Trae Young could get there. He's starting to ramp up too. So this is just a snapshot of right now, 20 games in. A lot of this can change, but I think this is a good start. Yep.
I just want to hit on the player comparison thing with the guards. If you look at like the EPM, like the expected plus minus, like the waves, it's like so. Okay, I did a Garland, Maxey, Young, LaMelo, Tyler Hero comparison. Garland is so the ranking. It's like LaMelo's number 1 by a bullet. Then it's Maxey. Then it's Garland, or then it's who's. Oh, is that Hero above there? Wait, hold on. This is I have 5 in there. Oh, okay. Here's how it has it. It goes in this order: LaMelo, Maxey, Garland, Hero, and Trae Young's last, for what that's worth.
Western Conference?
Western Conference. Let's do it. First, got to tell everyone about friends at eBay. eBay is a fantastic partner for the Just Sports Podcast Network this year, partnering with Just Baseball on 3 incredible events from spring training to the All-Star Game to Wild Card Weekend. And we want to shout out their Gametime Gets collection, along with career benchmarks, league-wide records, and single-game achievements that will trigger them to drop at ebay.com/GameTimeGets, with bidding starting at each card at just 24 cents as an homage to the game's 24-second shot clock. You can find all your favorites, NBA, WNBA, and more at ebay.com/GameTimeGets. All right, Wes, let's do Wes. You do your locks for the West first. Let's do it.
So similar to the East, I have 9 locks in the Western Conference as well. I have Steph.
Okay, agreed.
Because why deny it? He's going to get in. Even, we could debate whether or not he deserves it with the counting stats being down a little bit, but he's in it. Steph, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka, who can be, for the record, voted in as a forward or a guard. I mean, at least it was the case last year. So LeBron and Jokic. And that's not in any particular order. So I've got those guys as locks. I've also got Anthony Edwards, Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, and Victor Wembanyama.
Yep.
Those are my 9 locks.
The other one that I would throw on that I'm like very close on as far as a lock in the West is Devin Booker.
Okay. I couldn't get there with him. But tell me why.
I think Booker, as he's not shooting particularly well. I think that's one of the issues per game, but he's still being efficient because of his free throws. He's averaging nearly 7 assists a game. I think with all of the Durant in and out of the lineup stuff, he's kind of had to be a big steadying force and like a real focus on a team where he's already kind of the guy, but has to kind of absorb even more of that because that's not what Bradley Beal is at this point. I think he's like he's on my like wild card list of guys, and I feel just like he deserves a little bit of a benefit of a doubt in this case. But there's also like a lot of guys in the West that I like. It's part of the thing. Like I think it's like a really strong James Harden case if you wanted to go another guard.
He's on my long list here, short list here, whatever. So this is not necessarily a prediction of what we think is going to happen, because if we're doing a prediction,
it's true.
Devin Booker's making it. Devin Booker's going to make the All-Star. He's going to be he's one of those guys.
That's a good point. I would in that case, just in terms of what he's provided stats wise, Harden's probably ahead of him. Harden is ahead of him at this point, I think.
So my thing with Devin Booker is like the stats are fine. I just haven't felt like Devin Booker take over the basketball game as much as he's done in the past this season, if that makes sense. Like he very much, it's not quite like Team USA Devin Booker. And it might be the best version of it. Might be what the Phoenix Suns need from Devin Booker when Kevin Durant is playing the way he's been playing. He just hasn't been in like that takeover. Like I don't feel his presence on the court as much as I used to. And that might just sound crazy. He's still an awesome player, but it just doesn't feel like he's like the alpha as much as he was in the past. Maybe, and that might not be and that might just be like an impossibly high standard that he's already set for himself and an unfair way to knock him off my list. But I have him on my short list. I'm not saying he wouldn't make my All-Star team right now, but I didn't have him in as a lock either.
Yeah, not a lock, but I think he's like in my next. I have like a bunch of guys in my next tier. Is really the challenge of the West. Like there's a lot of guys, whether it's Harden, Jalen Williams with Oklahoma City.
Okay, wait, hold on. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
So based on our locks, so you have the same 9 locks as I did then.
Yes.
100%. And then we have 1 guard spot currently not occupied by Devin Booker, but on the list to take it.
Yeah.
We have 1 guard spot and 2 wild card spots. So the front court's done, but we can obviously get more guys in there as a wild card. So
and there's I think definitely 1 front court guy that I feel like I think there's 1 front court guy in the West.
Give me the guy. Give me the name.
Sengun.
I have him too. Let's put him in.
Yeah, Alperen Sengun. I think the Rockets like deserve an All-Star.
100%.
And he's the focal point of that team. Like he's a incredibly deserving first-time All-Star. A couple stats on Sengun when you look at this. He is first or second. He's first in rebounds, second in points and steals on that team. He's been a much better defensive center this season than I think we'd ever seen him be before for a team that last time I looked is second in defensive rating.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he is proving to Sengun's season this year, even if he's not an all-star, I think has proven him as the franchise pillar going forward, as at least a franchise pillar in Houston going forward. That feels absolutely locked in now based on what we've seen so far this year.
He's absolutely a foundational piece. He's the hub of that offense. He's a double-double production line at this point. He's tremendously helpful, and on a team that's as deep as the Houston Rockets are, they do tend to have some overlap at different positions. There is no overlap with Alperen Şengün. He's one of a kind on that roster, and he's very important. And so the defensive thing, he's been better than I ever thought he was going to be on that end. He's 100%. Done such a great job getting up to the level of the screen, showing, kind of backpedaling, getting back to the basket. He's great with his hands. You know, he gets the deflections. He kind of does those, not at like a Nikola Jokic level, but you know, he's part of what it is that they're doing in Houston. Like he's an active contributor to this defense. They're not top 5 in defensive rating in spite of him. Like he's part of the machine there. And so he's been awesome. So yeah, I didn't have him as a lock, but maybe I should have because you and I both have him on there. So
yeah, I think he's got to be there. All right, so that leaves us 2 spots, 1 guard and a wild card.
So I kind of narrowed it down. My long list, if I can just give you some names.
Yeah, please.
I had Devin Booker, Kyrie Irving, De'Aaron Fox, DeMar DeRozan, Sabonis, Jalen Williams, Jaren Jackson Jr., James Harden, Ja Morant, and then like Chet Holmgren with a question mark. He's been hurt, so I probably couldn't do that right now. But like,
yeah, if he comes back and is like gangbusters, then that's
all
one
right. So
thing.
we'll,
I think
we'll eliminate him from contention right now. So, of that group, I'm sort of leaning Kyrie and Jalen Williams, but I can very easily be talked out of it.
Let's do Kyrie first, because the more I've thought about it, I think this arguably is his most efficient season. He's like, I think 47. I'm checking it now. He's dipped a little bit. He's dipped a little bit, and this is like saying this is a dip is crazy, but he's at 45.7% from 3. Mm-hmm. He's been incredibly efficient off of Luka.
His assist to turnover ratio has been great. Like really he's not making those boneheaded like highlight type passes that he used to try to do. Like he's making the simple reads. He's been awesome as a scorer. And the thing that got me over the top with Kyrie here over other guys was Luka did not start the season all that well to Luka standards. And Kyrie Irving had to do a lot of heavy lifting. And during that stretch where Luka was out, Kyrie Irving was doing even more heavy lifting. And I think he's flatly just been an all-star this year.
Yeah. All right, so I think let's put Kyrie on. That leaves us 1 spot.
Okay.
Who are the let's get 3 guys we feel the strongest about for the last spot and figure it out. Jalen Johnson sounds like one for you.
Jalen Williams,
excuse me. I'm just thinking.
Jalen Williams, Devin Booker.
I say Harden as the 3rd.
I was kind of going that direction also.
His advanced numbers for what he's doing this year are pretty crazy. He's under 40% shooting, which is like a little weird and maybe dings him. I probably should ding him, but like he's kind of a huge reason why the Clippers are as competent as they are. It's like not peak Harden anymore, where it's like he's like the most valuable guy in the league for the load he's carrying, but it's like the 35-year-old version of that Harden that Ty Lue's getting out of him with their elite defense. There's something to be said for that. But under 40% from the field is like kind of hard to overlook for an all-star.
Yeah. De'Aaron Fox, I keep looking at him too. The Kings have been really underwhelming, but it doesn't feel like it's De'Aaron Fox's fault. And if anything, I feel even more strongly that De'Aaron Fox is the best player on the Kings right now, more than ever. I felt that way the last couple of years, even though there was always that debate with Sabonis, and it definitely feels like it's Fox now. He's also playing the most minutes in the league right now, De'Aaron Fox, which matters. So that's something there. So I feel like we shouldn't have written him off so completely, even though we didn't have him here. To me, it's between Devin Booker and Jalen Williams.
Okay. We're doing a De'Aaron Fox pull quote, and because that was a really good line you had, so we're putting that in there in this episode.
Should we consider him more then? Was I wrong?
Let's put you talk about the minutes played, talking about the fact that he's like scoring like 28 a game, something like that. He's been really efficient. I think it's him or Jalen Williams for me, now that we're kind of getting into it.
Oh, so Devin Booker's out.
I think based on what he's done so far this year, and like what we're looking if we're actually like doing this as a snapshot. I kind of did this exercise in my head in the East where like live West, I'm like checking myself against guys I think will get there versus like what they are right now. If this is a snapshot, Fox has been better than Booker so far this year, I think, and Jalen Williams has been better than Booker so far this year.
Fox has been better than Booker. Jalen Williams has been better if you're considering both ends, but Devin Booker's still been really good offensively. It's funny, I ended up like kind of poo-pooing Devin Booker. Now I feel like I'm defending Devin Booker.
Well, it's like his 3-point, like he's under Bud, his 3-point volume's up to like a career best, almost 8 a game, and he's still like at about 35% from three. That's still pretty darn good, even if it doesn't feel like he feels like he's just been. Devin Booker has been like Mike Budenholzered, which is like not a bad thing, but it means he probably looks a little bit different on the edges if you're not watching him night in and night out.
And then the fact with Jalen Williams, too, I mean, he was playing center for Oklahoma City when Chet went down and before they got Hartenstein back. And so, and he's still averaging 20-plus points per game. The rebounds are great. Like, he's doing all this stuff.
For a team that's the best in the West and
so are we going
like, totally.
So it kind of comes down, do we want to give Oklahoma City 2 guys or do we want to get Sacramento 1 guy?
I think we should give Oklahoma City 2.
Do you think Jalen Williams is a better basketball player than De'Aaron Fox?
No.
That's kind of where I keep going back to this.
Let's put De'Aaron Fox on. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
De'Aaron Fox is a fun.
That's crazy because I had Jalen Williams over Fox in my first draft, and we just sort of talked both of ourselves out of something we both agreed on.
But this is the thing about the West is that I think like the East is a little more straightforward. Like obviously we had some stuff on the edges and like I'm sure someone will be like, you guys have Tyler Hero as an all-star. Like, we're going to get something like that. Whatever. The West has so many guys that are actually deserving that it depends that depending on like almost like who you start with in your argument, it's like how you're going to talk yourself out of them. If you start with a guy like me bringing up Booker as early as I did, maybe just kind of doomed us picking him because we were going to think about other guys like, oh, but De'Aaron Fox, you know what I mean? It's like there's so many guys that like they could, that's a 15 all-star conference to me. You know, and like you still have 1 or 2 guys on the edges. You'd be like, that sucks that they're out. But 12 is hard in the West. 12 All-Stars is really, really hard in the West.
It is. Yeah.
So let's draft some teams.
Okay, so the way this is working then...
Yeah, I'm going to get a randomizer up as you're talking.
Okay, so the way this is working... A randomizer, why?
Well, because we're going to... the order out. I don't know. You have a draft order. You know? We're going to have 3 teams that are going to draft, right?
Right. Why don't you take 2 of the teams, I'll take 1 of the teams, and then that way you take 1, I'll take 1, and you take 1.
All right, that's fine. But how do we decide? Okay. But
doesn't matter who the representative. Let's go let's go Giannis with the first pick, Steph with the second pick, LeBron with the third pick.
Okay. I think
and you get Giannis and LeBron. I'll do Steph. I'll be in the middle. That's
fine. I was gonna say I kind of feel like my homerism for LeBron.
You definitely get LeBron. That was implied. So the reason why we're doing it this way, for those who are not caught up on how the All-Star is going to work this year, the format is still technically not set in stone, but they are going to do a pickup style All-Star game with 3 teams of 8. All right, and then that 4th team, I guess, is going to be the Rising Stars team, which we don't need to worry about right now. So we've got to choose 3 teams of 8 from this player pool that we just decided, with 12 guys from the East, 12 guys from the West. You have the first pick as Team Giannis, Chris. So you have Giannis on the roster. That obviously is part of it. So who are you adding to your group?
I am going to take... I'm picking this to be clear, I'm picking this based on like fun of like how I want to see these guys play with other guys. That's
I like
my
that.
logic in this. I'm just going vibes, and I'm taking Luka for Team Giannis.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah. Give me Luka on Team Giannis.
Okay. So I'm Team Steph then. I'm going to go ahead and take Jokic.
Okay. That sucks, because Jokic and LeBron was like the thing I wanted more than anything in the world in the All-Star game, but that's valid. All right, Team LeBron. I'm just going to do the most like Cleveland bullshit I can of all time, which is I could either take Kyrie or Donovan Mitchell here. But I'm not You know what? On Team LeBron, we're gonna grab. I'm looking at our lists here. I'm gonna take. I feel like he would take AD, but I don't really want to do that with my first pick, so I'm taking Anthony Edwards.
All right.
I just feel like taking Anthony Davis.
No clutch clients. Not going after newly signed clutch client De'Aaron Fox.
That's true. No, he probably would have done that. Yeah, it's true.
You don't go Fox number 2 though. He'll get him later.
Yeah.
LeBron's the best at drafting these. He always games it out. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he absolutely he hate them. So are we doing Snake or do we go back to Giannis?
Go back to Giannis.
All right, so Team Giannis, I got another pick. I took Luka. Here I'm gonna take SGA.
All right. Team Steph is gonna go ahead and take Tatum.
God, that team's gonna that team's already the favorite just based on the shooting.
I'm out drafting you with one team. You've got 2 teams.
Yeah, but like I'm picking based on vibes, and you're like you got like Jason.
I got basketball fit, man. I got Steph, Jokic, and Tatum. Let's keep going.
This sucks. I'm really bad at this. LeBron would be better at this than me because he's fucking LeBron. I think
just do it. Just take Davis.
Yeah, I think I have to take Davis here. He would do this.
Right. That's a good team, not gonna lie. All right, back to Team Giannis.
Yep. Okay. I'm gonna go international flavor here, and I'm just gonna take Wembanyama.
Got my guy. All right, I love it. Giannis would do that.
Yeah, Giannis, Luka, SGA, and Wembanyama. I know I'm kind of Canada's international there, but that's fun as hell.
Give me Durant.
Yeah.
On Team Steph.
Just fucking buckets. This is the team that should be like, if someone gets hurt and can't make the All-Star game, that should be like, can we get Derek White as a replacement just so they have someone who will defend in an All-Star game?
And then just kick Jaylen Brown out of it just for fun.
Yeah, speaking of Jaylen Brown,
he's not hurt or anything.
I'm taking
Jaylen Brown.
For Team
Seems
LeBron.
like a LeBron pick.
Yeah. Team Giannis, I'm gonna just pick his Bucks team. I'm gonna put Dame on this team.
Yeah, it's a great pick. They're playing really well together, by the way, right now.
Yeah.
That 2-man game has never been better.
That team, like, even if I think there are 3 like the real title contenders in the West, or in the East, excuse me, the Bucks and the Magic are going to be such a pain in the ass to play in the playoffs at this point. It feels like Cleveland and the Knicks in particular are going to have like to get some real tests. They're going to solidify their status as those 2 and 3 teams in the East. But you took the
Team Steph, taking Donovan Mitchell.
Okay, that was my next pick regardless.
I figured.
I'm gonna take Kyrie for Team LeBron.
Yep, gotta do it.
Kyrie and LeBron in an All-Star game just feels right, and can we get Kevin Love on the sidelines like coaching?
When was the last time we got that? LeBron and Kyrie. It's been a while, right?
Yeah, even amid all the flirting LeBron was doing with him a couple years ago, it did feel right. I do also tell you, Wes, LeBron and
Kyrie hasn't even made the All-Star team since, and it's been 2 years. Okay.
Yeah. Been a little bit. But Kevin Love and LeBron reuniting, despite the fact that they're old now, doing the same handshake is just them doing it. It's great. I love it. All right, Team Giannis. I'm gonna take Franz Wagner.
Wow. Okay.
A little high, but I think he fits Team Giannis.
No, I like it. All right, give me Brunson.
It's a good pick. Let me cross off guys here to make sure I'm not going to accidentally say something stupid. Okay,
we've got De'Aaron Fox, Alperen Şengün, Karl Anthony Towns, Jalen Johnson, and Tyler Hero left.
I'm going to take Towns.
That's the right pick.
And then for Team Giannis, I'm going to take Şengün.
That was the right pick. Team Steph takes... I think we still have Evan Mobley on the board.
Oh, we do. Which actually, honestly, I was forgetting that Evan Mobley, like, considering he's not an all-star friendly guy, like, I think there are 2 candidates to be the last pick here in the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're Tyler Hero and I think they're Evan Mobley.
It's both of our guys.
It's both of our guys.
Yeah, give me Jalen Johnson.
All right. I figured you're going there. I'm going to besmirch you because you didn't take the Under Armour shoe client, De'Aaron Fox, to play.
Oh, I forgot I had him there. I think I have to audible.
Yeah, do you want to take De'Aaron
No,
Fox?
go ahead. Take
Okay.
Fox. Take your guy.
I'm taking De'Aaron Fox for Team LeBron.
I screwed up.
Just doing some tampering.
Forgot I had him.
What I'm about to do. All right, back to Team Giannis. The guys we have left are Tyler Hero. We've all the West guys are gone, I believe, right?
Yeah, so it's Mobley and Hero. And LaMelo.
And LaMelo. So, God.
We got to do it. Do it.
I got to take LaMelo.
No. Don't do that.
No.
Don't do that.
What?
Come on. Let's play it out. Good content.
Mobley?
Take
Hero?
Mobley. Yep. Nope. Go ahead. Take Mobley or Hero. Take Mobley or Hero.
I'm taking Mobley.
All right. I'll take Hero on Team Steph. And that makes LaMelo the last pick of the All-Star draft for Team LeBron.
Honestly, though, LaMelo as like an infuriating All-Star teammate feels like very in the cards to me. Like, feels entirely possible.
That is going to happen.
Yeah.
That's going to happen.
Yeah.
He will be the last
100%.
pick in the All-Star draft. That is my prediction.
Okay. I love this. Wes, one last thing before we get out of here. What did you make of the Lonzo Ball? I think for the first time admitting this week that the big baller brand shoes might have fucked his career, basically.
I love, and shout out to Ramon Shelburne, who did such a great job reporting that piece.
Great.
I mean,
really,
people that
really great
really,
story. Jokes aside.
it's so obvious how much reporting and information is stuffed into that thing. But for people who don't do this as a living, that is so hard to get that kind of access and that much reporting. And that takes so much time and effort. So shout out to her. That was an awesomely reported piece. And well written, obviously. So I love that he fessed up to it. You know, and like he was obviously upset. You know, like he missed 2+ years of his career, and it threw off his whole timeline. Like that guy was playing great, former top 3 pick. Like that guy, I love that he admitted to it. Also, kind of in there, he talked about how he was forced to play outside a lot in the concrete and play all these games. Also throwing a little bit shade at LeVar there, who was the one kind of putting him out there. And his uncle saying, like, you shouldn't be playing outside as much. You got to go find indoor courts and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, I thought it was fascinating.
Yeah. It's between that and Lonzo, like on I think Angel Reese's podcast in the last like 2 weeks, basically like telling his brother, like, grow up, go overseas and go play overseas if you want to have a real career. Really, just Lonzo Ball growing up in front of our eyes amid all this. You love to see personal growth amid the struggles.
It's a little Kendall Roy just trying to take control of his own fate is kind of what's happening here. He's kind of Lonzo Ball is like the Kendall Roy of the Ball family.
Lonzo Ball's at his. Does that mean he's like at his Christmas party, like crying because his kids gave him a gift? Is his girlfriend like doesn't know how to deal with him, like weeping? Is that where we're headed? Is that like?
Yeah, LaMelo is. LaMelo is definitely
Does
Kieran Culkin's character.
Does that mean LiAngelo's Connor Roy?
100%. Wait, this actually works. This works perfectly.
That's so good. Oh, but the only thing is, like, I think LeVar, like, for all the power he wielded at a certain point, is not Logan Roy.
No, LeVar died on an airplane like 3 seasons ago.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't heard from LeVar in a while, honestly. Which I think it's been good. But on that note, Succession is the Ball brothers. Honestly, Wes, I'm gonna say this again. I've said this, I think, on this show before when Brendan was doing it. Succession, but like in the sports world, is like my number one like dream fantasy thing. I wish I could see. It would. People don't, I think, realize like how goofy some of these things can be within like team structures. Like, they get reported now and, like, how analytical they are. There's just a lot of, like, really dumb shit that happens in sports. And a
lot of nepotism.
A lot of, like, players being just, like, absolutely kind of weirdos about certain things. I want a Succession sports show in the worst way. And I need it to be based on the Ball brothers now is really what I want.
Let's make it happen. Get the production company on it.
Max, throw us the money. But that's going to be it for today's Just Basketball Show. Those are our all-star teams a quarter of the weekend. Tell us why we're wrong. Tell us what we agree with. We'll throw up a poll maybe. Wes, who would you say are foremost, like, who should we do, like, biggest snub poll? Should we do, like, who's our hottest take all-star? What should we do?
I think what we do is we post our teams, our pickup teams, on socials, and then we put out who our biggest snub, and then ask who the biggest snub is.
Okay. Look for that poll on YouTube. Look for the graphics. We'll talk to y'all next week. Have a great weekend. Stay warm if you're in a cold weather city. If you're west, you just go outside and think 60s cold. Enjoy the hoops. Talk to you soon.